At Capcom Cup 11, a young Chilean player by the name of Blaz showcased just how scary of a player he could be. Prior to this event, Blaz was already recognized as the #1 player in his region, but nobody truly knew how strong he was until Capcom Cup 11, when he went on a generational run, defeating the likes of Xian, Shuto, Angry Bird, and Lashar before ultimately falling to Kakarot. From there, Blaz proved that his Capcom Cup 11 run wasn't a fluke, placing top 8 in multiple events and securing his position as one of the top point earners for the offline Capcom Pro Tour this season. His breakout season mirrored that of another Street Fighter legend before him, Punk. Just like Punk, I believe Blaz will not only dominate tournaments, but also single-handedly shape the Street Fighter 6 meta just as Punk did in Street Fighter 5 with this low forward hit confirm playset. Why do I think that? Well, after watching hours of Blaz's tournament footage, I found 3 key traits outside of his reactions in neutral that I believe will allow him to have continued success and possibly define the meta, much like Punch once did. So in order for us to take a look at this, so let's dive into the film and break down exactly what I'm talking about.
Geki, show him the door, because kid, you're in grand finals!
The first point I want to talk about is Blaz's ability to adapt quickly in-game. Blaz has some of the fastest in-game processing speed I've ever seen from a player. His adaptations happen in real time, and it seems they are almost instantaneous. While there are many examples of Blaz adapting mid-match, one moment stands out in particular to me during his sets against Riddle at UFA, where they faced off in both winners and losers. In the third game of their winners match, Blaz was in burnout and Riddles manages to score a knockdown with Terry's bird knuckle. He then puts himself into burnout as well by using EX Fireball or plus frames to set up Terry's strong burnout pressure. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Terry's burnout pressure, it usually revolves around his light kick crack shoot special move because it becomes plus when done in burnout. Normally, Terry counters from a medium punch or a kick, but there are some times where Terry might cancel off a light. However, these counters are less safer because they can be matched out of with a light punch, and remember that option. With the base of his pressure established, from there Terry can mix up the opponent with many of these different options, sneaking in throws, eventually cashing out with a DI into stun when the opponent is near the corner. Now going back to the match, Riddles abuses the burnout pressure and eventually takes that round. Fast forward to the loser semi game 3, the exact same situation arises. Riddles hits burn knuckle on a burnout Blaz and begins to light kick crack shoot pressure again, this time trying to mix things up using the standard light punch version. But Blaz recognizes it instantly, uses Ryu's standard light punch to interrupt and converts into a DP juggle. Moments like these highlight not only Blaz's deep knowledge, but also his incredible speed in recognizing and countering situations in real time. The second point I want to talk about is Blaz's ability to optimize his situational awareness. Blaz has some of the best situational awareness I have seen from any player. He's always ready for whatever situation is thrown at him. But more importantly, he's able to maximize those situations in every possible way, not just in the damage department. A great example of this comes from his loser semi match against Kings Vega at UFA. In game 3, Kings Vega had Blaz corner. Blaz tries to create space by whiffing normals, then walking up and using stand media kick, and immediately backdashing to reset the spacing. Kings Vega tried to DI, but Blaz whiff punishes the DI perfectly. Now at this point, Blaz had 3 bars of super, and King Vega's health was low enough that he could just close the round out with a combo into super. But instead of doing that, Blaz opted to manage his resources well. He went for an EX donkey kick combo ending in EX Tatsu, which gave him an opportunity for a meaty fireball setup, had to block, and couldn't do anything about, guaranteeing Blaz took that round while preserving the meter advantage. Even though Blaz eventually lost this set, this moment stands out as a perfect example of his high-level situational optimization, choosing not only just the best immediate option, but the best strategic one. The final point I want to talk about is Blaz's drive gauge strategy. Now, when I mentioned earlier about Blaz having the potential to have the Punk-like impact, this is what I'm talking about with his drive gauge strategy. Blaz truly understands the importance of winning the drive gauge for him, and his breakout performance at Capcom Cup 11 highlighted a unique and forward-thinking approach to drive gauge management, something no other player was doing at the time. In his match against Lashar, Blaz intentionally dropped a combo designed specifically to attack the opponent's drive gauge and force a burnout situation. Since then, he showcased his skill across multiple characters, using creative setups to trap the opponent in burnout and checkmate situation. So let's take a look at 2 examples. The first example comes from his match versus Dogra at Evo France in the top 8 of losers round 1. In game 1, Blaz lands a huge conversion with Sagat's crouching heavy punch while Dogora's drive gauge is in critical condition. From there, Blaz combos into Sagat's level 2 super to put Dogora on the brink of burnout. After the level 2 ends, Blaz waits a short amount of time just in case Dogora wakes up with a parry or an invincible reversal. Blaz confirms that Dogora does not wake up with either one of those options, and he hits Dogora with a crouching medium punch in the DI, stunning him and taking the round. Now this setup wasn't just a random DI setup. Normally, when an opponent sees a button into DI, they can respond with a parry, DI back, or super. But because Dogora's drive gauge was so low, the parry option would have triggered burnout before the DI hit. That essentially removes the most reactive Dogora option has, and he would have had to either super or DI right back in a high pressure situation. Moving on to the second but this time with his Ryu. Now in this set against Juicy Joe at UFA, in game 1 and round 3 of their set. In the situation, Blaz has Juicy Joe cornered and he's caging him while keeping him in the corner. Blaz throws out a whiff Hashogeki to bait a parry attempt, which Juicy Joe falls for. Following that, he then goes with a meaty OD fireball to burn Juicy Joe out, which is an excellent call because it stops Juicy Joe from using OD amnesia or his level 1 reversal options. After he burns him out, Blaz then starts going to the Ryu Hashogeshi pressure, but he waits a certain amount of interval of time to confirm that Juicy Joe is not doing a reversal super in between his pressure. After confirming that no super was coming, Blaz continues the Hashogeshi pressure with crouching medium punch into Hashogeki, then stand leg kick in the EX fireball, taking the round from there. Both of these examples show not just his mastery of the drive system, but also ties into his optimal situational awareness, in which he's picking the most optimal option even when he's applying his strategies. So there you have it, Blaz's gameplay broken down into 3 key traits. Blaz is a player who continues to impress me the more I study him. He has a bright future ahead and all the tools to not just meet but exceed expectations. Now if you enjoy breakdowns like this, make sure you like the video. If you want to see more player analysis like this, leave a comment on which player you'd like to see next. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.